Hey, good afternoon. How is everybody? My name's Mike. I didn't play pro football, but I have integrity and I have a brain. So we're going to go with that for the next 4 hours and see what happens.
But,
hey, Rico. Don't care. Let's get into it, shall we?
play a little high school.
All right, so apparently we're gonna do the Michigan scandal in 2 shifts. We've got a day crew and a night crew because stories break before 2 and after 6. And last night the Washington Post article came out, and now you got another report this morning, and I'll outline all of it real quick, and then I'll give you where I'm at with it. And I'm sure we're gonna fight for the next 4 hours. It's gonna be sick. Here's the Washington Post piece. I'll cliff notes. Ready? Here we go. Sign stealing investigation began after an outside investigative firm approached the NCAA with documents and videos the firm said it had obtained from computer drives, maintaining and accessed by multiple Michigan coaches. According to 2 people familiar with the matter, evidence suggests the scandal's impact could broaden beyond the suspension of Sergeant Stallone. Stallions played a major role in overseeing and coordinating the efforts. The outside investigation found the firm's evidence suggested he didn't act alone. I guess we can scratch that talking point. The outside firm didn't present evidence directly linking Harbaugh, according to people with knowledge. But again, that's never been important. This is about the cheating. Mm-hmm. And as my good friend Bo Schembechler's always said, you don't get to say you didn't know. Among the pieces of evidence, those people said was a detailed schedule of Michigan's planned sign-stealing travel for the rest of the season, listing opponent schedules, which game Michigan scouts would attend, and how much money was budgeted for travel and tickets to scout each team. Top the list, you guessed it, Ohio State. The team you couldn't beat for 15 years, but now magically delicious have demolished. Michigan's top rival, scouts plan to attend as many as 8 OSU games, costing more than $3,000 in travel and tickets. Next on the list was Georgia, a potential opponent in the CFP, with 4 or 5 games scheduled for in-person scouting and video recording, costing more than $3,000. In total, Michigan's sign-stealing operation expected to spend more than $15,000 in a season, sending scouts to more than 40 games played by over 10 opponents. Outside firm presented the NCAA with photographs of people investigators believed to be Michigan scouts in action, including current students interning with the team. Photos showed these people seated at games and Michigan opponents aiming their cell phones at the sideline. Days later, the firm tells the NCAA cell phone videos depicting the coaching staffs from these games were uploaded to a drive that was maintained and accessed by Stallions as well as, quote, several other Michigan assistants. Now, add to that the Football Scoop report today. Now, Football Scoop generally follows coaching searches. That's kind of their game.
Right.
You can go grain of salt. You could go gospel. I think both would be mistakes. I think you got to take this one in the middle at best. But Football Scoop says a source with direct knowledge indicated that Michigan may have attempted to assist the opposition of a playoff team last year in an effort to disrupt the team's potential path to the playoff. Per multiple sources, on a condition of anonymity, investigators have focused on trying to determine if Stallions, forbidden per NCAA rules from wearing an official coach's headset, was on the sideline because he wasn't designated by the staff to do so per requirement. Could potentially have had other means of communication for staffers. All right, so let's do the download. Where are we at today? I think what we can do on our bingo board here, if you're following along at home, we can get rid of the he acted alone thing. That's gone. I think we're well past it's a silly rule. That's gone too. I think you can also drop that there's no competitive advantage. So I'm going to explain 2 things. Being that I didn't play pro ball because I wasn't blessed with the ability, but I'd like to think I'm still honest with my listeners and I have a functioning brain. 2 notes. I heard John Clown Car caller, which I always appreciate. It's fun. But when you're talking about football in the early to mid 90s, nobody cares, John. That's not even the same sport that is played today. The offensive and defensive schemes and philosophies, it's evolved to a point it's not the same game. You don't believe me? Turn on ESPN Classic. Watch an NFL game from 1994, 1997. Watch a college game from 96. And then turn on Oklahoma, Texas now. Pre-snap motion, formation substitution, the verticality of the sport, the way this thing's played. Back in the day, it used to be about just smashing your opponent's face in. So knowing what they were going to run maybe didn't help you as much. Noted. But in the here and now, when you haven't beaten a team for 15 years, when you're giving up 50, 60, 70 to them, coaches are losing their jobs because of it. Well, yeah, when you scout 8 of their games, here's how this scheme worked. You scout 8 games because it takes away the ability of well, just change your signs, bruh. Well, they do. And you know when you have 8 games of data, do you know what you can do? You know their every move. You know every hand signal that's a primary, secondary, right, tertiary. And here's what I'm thinking.
Well, you made a chart.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. The reason Michigan struggles in the first half to then turn into Leviathan in the second half, it takes Stalions a half to retabulate his data, learn what portion of what he's learned they're doing today.
Because they've changed it, but where out in the rotation is this A, B, C, or D? And they're running the D.
And at halftime, he's able to present the comprehensive advantage for them to go out and defy any common sense. It's a working theory. It's a theory that I think is reasonable.
Well, your theory also holds weight, Mike, with the fact that they did not cover for their non-conference games because those were opponents that they did not scout. They just flat out played them. They were better than them, and they beat them.
And lost to TCU, who, once again, they didn't scout. Now, where are we at now? Now, the football scoop thing, I'll be careful with it. It's no secret what the rumors are about. The rumors are that they dimed out Tennessee to get him out of the playoff deal, and they did it against South Carolina. Can't prove it. It's a rumor. Everyone's seen it. I'm not going to avoid it and act like people don't know what I'm talking about. That day that may have happened, might have happened, might not have happened. South Carolina out of nowhere turned into the Kansas City Chiefs and scored on their first 6 possessions. And Hendon Hooker blew his knee out. Look, here's the bottom line. We've reached a point now where we're not going to do this whole everyone's doing it routine. They're not. Everyone steals signs. Not everyone has an elaborate travel agency to go live and do it. So just stop with that.
Yeah. Stealing signs because you happen to see something during the game is one thing. You happen to see, somebody lines up in a certain spot and then this happens. But yeah, this was organized.
This isn't that. So again, people like I saw Jeff Saturday, who's a half-wit, he's on ESPN this morning. Well, everyone's doing it. And it's like, Jeff, do you even know what you're talking about? No, you don't. You're an NFL guy.
Oh, I can one up.
You don't even watch college football, Jeff. We all know it. Stop it.
How about this Sports Illustrated article? It's a myth that the college football head coach knows everything going on in his program.
Who wrote that?
That's Michael Rosenberg.
Where'd he go to school?
Michigan.
Thank you. Your integrity's gone. So let's keep it moving. And I would also refer Rosie to my good friend Bo Schembechler's book, Bo's Lasting Lessons in Leadership. You don't get to say you didn't know. And here's the other thing. According to NCAA bylaws, it won't matter if Harbaugh knew. So take that talking point, move that to the side. Guys, I've reached a phase of here's what I think should happen. I think might happen. The one bridge I'm not ready to cross is the Big Ten title game. It won't be the NCAA who does that. It would be unprecedented. The NCAA doesn't move fast enough. And if you're to believe that the NCAA is here today and is interviewing coaches, they're in a gathering phase. They will present the official allegation. Michigan smartly will take 90 days to respond. That will get them past the national title game. But I go back to what Rico and I said yesterday. The Big Ten Conference does not have to wait, and the College Football Playoff Committee does not have to wait. I think right here, right now, I would tell you got about a 1 in 3 shot of Harbaugh being back next year. I think Harbaugh could absolutely the baby could get thrown out with the bathwater. I think if you're Michigan, you're going to do everything in your power to make sure you play and make sure, even if there's an asterisk, you go down the road with this and play the games. In order to do that, do I think there's a shot Harbaugh's done coaching? Yeah, I think there's a shot.
Yeah, because I think that when this comes down, it may be you got to sit for a year, and he's not going to sit and wait for a year.
Well, the other issue I take is this. If these things are true, and frankly, the WAPO report, I have no reason to tell you why it's not. The football scoop, I will deal with the the possibility. I'm not ready to use that as gospel. I think that's irresponsible. Now, if that were true, Well, now we're on to something completely different. The difference between this scandal and, say, Kansas basketball is Kansas was about recruiting. It wasn't real-time cheating. It wasn't in-the-moment cheating. I have an issue that I can't solve, is that if I'm Terry Petiti and I'm running the Big Ten right now, how do I ensure the integrity of my contests as we hit November, and it's no secret the games that have to be played? Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Penn State. Ohio State, Michigan.
Right.
How do I ensure integrity in those contests? If the Big Ten felt this was serious enough to go to each member institution, including Michigan State, present them with the evidence, warn them, and offer them the option of not playing, then it's clear you've moved past the phase. And we've gotten somewhere different. The College Football Committee is fascinating because they actually could do nothing and never have to justify a thing. They could just keep Michigan out if they decided. Because reality is, who are your friends, Rico? Not yours personally.
Nobody.
Who's a friend of Michigan in college football if it is found, and as we sit here right now, why would anyone support backing this school? Now, you want to say the TV executives? Noted. Nope, wrong one. The point is,
ironically enough,
the point, I want to know where you're at, because here's what I think is going to happen. I think you're absolutely going to get a hammer dropped on you. I don't know that coincides with right now. That's what I want to happen. Oh, there'd be no way in hell I'd let you play in the Big Ten title game. None. But that's me. And that's not responsible for me to tell you that's what will happen. No, I don't think that's going to happen. That would be for the Big Ten to do. That would be for the College Football Playoff Committee to do. But do I think Harbaugh survives it? No. Do I think multiple assistant coaches are going to get caught up in the wash and let go? Yep. Do I think the NCAA will end up vacating your Big Ten title? Very plausible. Because here's how this is going to work. Michigan's going to have to make a peace offering, Rico. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to. This is getting worse. And by the way, more is supposed to come out today.
Mike, there's a fourth option that we have not talked about.
Talk to me.
I'll give that to you next.
97.1.